Fast food joints may not have biscuits like your grandmother used to make, but some of them definitely have quality offerings. Others, not so much. Here are our rankings of the biscuits you can get in a drive-thru, from worst to best. There's a reason it's called Burger King and not Biscuit King. We love a junior, double, or triple Whopper now and again, but the King's biscuits are a bit of a disappointment. Burger King doesn't sell a plain old biscuit by itself. Instead, the chain only serves them as holders for meat and or cheese. So what does a Burger King sausage biscuit minus the sausage taste like? It's pretty decent, to be honest, and we'd have to assume that it's even better when it's not burnt to a total crisp. Unfortunately, the one that we ended up with spent a bit too much time in the oven. It ended up being tougher than leather and horrifically dry, more like a hockey puck than part of a balanced breakfast. If it weren't for how overly toasted Burger King's biscuit was, it may have had the potential to be part of a decent meal. Will you have better luck if you visit your local Burger King in the AM? It's certainly possible, but we didn't feel inclined to find out. Ordering fast food shouldn't be a gamble.
Tyler. Our breakfast.
Oh.
Wendy's may have a reputation for starting beef on social media, but we're not afraid of getting called out. The chain claims that its breakfast is worth waking up for, but the buttermilk biscuit on its morning menu makes us wish that we'd stayed in bed. Wendy's says that its breakfast-only biscuit is different because it's been slathered in honey butter. To be fair, the honey butter is present on this biscuit, and it does provide a delicious, gooey sweetness, but only when you can find it. The stuff is unevenly scattered throughout, and even the savory secret weapon can't hide the quality issues of the biscuit beneath. In our case, this biscuit was also toasted past the point of no return. While the scorch marks here aren't as visible as they were in the Burger King biscuit, the Wendy's version was still slightly too brown on top, making it a chore to bite through. Aside from the butter it's doused in, the biscuit itself had very minimal butter flavor and was disappointingly dry. So even if you want to take your chances on the Wendy's biscuit lottery, a winning ticket isn't anything to write home about.
Try this out. Hey, yo, cuz, what's this? It's the new Southern-style chicken biscuit. That's what's up.
There's nothing like an Egg McMuffin to start the day, but as far as McDonald's biscuits are concerned, they don't quite compare. Out of the big three burger joints that have expanded into the realm of breakfast, McDonald's has come the closest to cracking the biscuit code, but they still have quite a lot of room for improvement. There's nothing necessarily wrong with a McDonald's biscuit. They're decidedly acceptable, and thankfully the one we got wasn't even horrendously overcooked. Even though this biscuit ended up being slightly too toasted, it was still seriously flaky. Unfortunately though, it seems that McDonald's biscuits are missing that buttery flavor that the best ones often have. If you're craving a biscuit in a pinch, McDonald's will probably hit the spot. However, due to middling moistness, flakiness, and butteriness, there's almost always a better option, or three, out there to enjoy. When it comes to quality biscuits, chicken chains seem to have a juicy leg up over burger joints. Instead of being used to transport bacon and eggs to your mouth, though, these biscuits are often a signature side of any Southern-style dinner. And instead of being overcooked disappointments, they're actually enjoyable to eat. First stop, Kentucky. At KFC, our biscuit had a reasonably handsome color that only veered ever so slightly into overcooked territory. The Colonel's take on this Southern staple is delightfully toasted, with a relatively fluffy center and a slight crunch on the outside. Although its flavor wasn't exactly intense, it had just enough buttery tinge to make eating it enjoyable. Despite Colonel Sanders' best efforts though, his biscuits are far from perfect. No matter how creative his commercials might be, KFC's offering may be fluffier than those that came before it on this list, but it's still on the drier and denser side when it comes to quality biscuits. When you think of the Chick-fil-A menu, biscuits probably aren't the first thing that come to mind. Even though the chicken chain doesn't get much credit for their carbohydrate-based offerings, they definitely get points for presentation. This Chick-fil-A's breakfast exclusive was far and away the largest and prettiest looking entry on this list, with a gorgeous brown color that just won't stop. According to the chain, its biscuits are not frozen and then warmed up to order, but instead baked on location. And boy howdy do we believe them. This biscuit tastes like freshly warmed buttermilk batter in the best way possible. In other words, it's a true slice of carb heaven that's tender throughout, with melt-in-your-mouth levels of moisture in the center. That doesn't mean that it's undercooked though. In fact, this biscuit is masterfully toasted on the sides and top, so it has a great balance of crunchy and soft textures. While the consistency of Chick-fil-A's biscuit is hard to beat, its buttery flavor, though still delicious, is outranked by the buttery bread of one more biscuit-famous chain.
Am I just a basic biscuit?
Little.
When Popeyes added their now iconic biscuit to the menu, sales at the Louisiana-born eatery jumped by a whopping 25%. From that point on, consumers from the North and South found themselves deep in lifelong buttery love affairs with the restaurant's signature side. These biscuits' sheer deliciousness caused them to earn the title of our #1 pick for the best fast food biscuit, even if it's not quite as picture-perfect as Chick-fil-A's. This biscuit of legend is beautifully moist, with a crunchy toasted exterior that makes every bite a multi-dimensional texture experience. Although it's not as melt in melt-in-your-mouth tender as the other chains take on the side. Popeyes' flakier treat ended up being the most intensely butter-flavored biscuit out of the 6 we tried. It's totally laced with butter from its perfectly toasted top down to its wonderfully browned to perfection bottom, giving it non-stop butter action in every bite. Love that chicken from Popeyes, but love those biscuits even more.